How are you, Christy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to be here. One of my clients had called me and I was like, I'll give you a call right back. And he's like, yeah, enjoy your lunch. I'm like, no. I'll send this to you. I'll send you this video. So, Jeff, make sure you watch this because I just shouted you out, man. So, Christy, thank you so much for your taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know you're outside with the birds chirping, and it's kind of hot because we both live in Florida. But I know you've had a heck of a few months, I think, with gearing up to end tax season. So I'm happy that you're available now.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Of course, yeah. So, um, I am notorious for talking about things that people don't want to talk about. And today we're going to be talking about taxes and bookkeeping. And I just want, if anyone hasn't tuned into Friendly Fridays, I want to let you guys know what our mission is here. So, I have seen that there's a lot of things that people should know that they don't know, that they should have taught us in school, that we're going to learn today. So, Friendly Fridays is just a way for me to share information to my network, to make sure people know about these very dire things that they should know about, like insurance. Hello, accounting. Hi, Christy.
Hello.
My name is Paula Rodriguez. For those of you that don't know, I'm an insurance broker. So I specialize in helping groups with health insurance. And Christy is here because we connected actually on LinkedIn, and she has 20 years of accounting experience in payroll, in reporting, in bookkeeping. So she has a wealth of knowledge in accounting and in payroll, and we vibed a little bit because of my background in payroll as well. And we found that there's just so many things that business owners should know that they don't know, just because they're entrenched in their business, right? They're out there to make a profit. It's hard enough to keep a business running. So anything you want to add about your background, Christy, before I get into the questions?
Well, when I was in school, I took business courses and I took accounting. And, of course, back then you had shorthand and typing with a typewriter and things like that. But I was always interested in numbers. And I always like to dive in and like find the penny. You're off by a penny. And I would spend 2 days trying to find this one penny because everything has to balance. And I think sometimes I'm a little OCD. So, everything's just got to balance and it's got to be right. And, because all of a sudden you'll have a snowball effect. So
Yes.
I just enjoyed numbers, which, is kind of odd. I think a lot of people don't like numbers, unless it's on their paycheck. But
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're grateful that you like numbers and you can help us out with that stuff, because I know for sure, like, my squirrel brain would not be able to trace down a penny for sure. But yeah, so Christy, the big question is I had it right here. So how do you know if your bookkeeper is doing their job? Like, what reports should they be looking at on a monthly basis, to make sure that they're actually, doing their bookkeeping, keeping track of the books of the business?
well, a good bookkeeper will give you a report every month that shows your profit, your loss, your cash flow, your income statement, and everything should balance. They also should be balancing and reconciling your bank statements every month to make sure you know what you got coming in, what you got going out. Everything should balance. You should be able to call your bookkeeper and say, hey, can I get a cash flow statement as of today? They should be able to do that for you. You should be able to be in constant contact with your bookkeeper. I mean, there's a lot of bookkeepers out there, but there's also a lot that aren't on the up and up, just like any other business. And you don't want to get taken advantage of. So if you can't reach your bookkeeper and you've tried for a couple days, that should be a huge red flag.
Yeah.
You know that they're going to be going on vacation, but even then, if they, like if my clients email me and I'm on vacation, I'm going to email them back. so that they know, hey, I'm on top of it. I'm away for a couple days, but as soon as I get back, I'll take care of it. So you should have that kind of a relationship with your bookkeeper.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I know a lot about what it's like to not have such a great bookkeeper. I used to run a construction business. I was the operations director, fancy name for office manager, basically, and just support, right? And our books were a hot mess, and it took us so long to get them right. And I don't know to this day if things are 100% correct. It doesn't take much to make the books not add up, and it does take someone that's very diligent in making sure that happens correctly. So any like tips for business owners in terms of how to make the most out of their tax return or bookkeeping, anything that like kind of jumps out at you that people don't know about but they probably should know?
Well, a lot of businesses try to do their own books, which if you've got the time, I mean, that's great. And if you know what you're doing, but if you don't have the time and if you don't know what you're doing, come tax season, you're going to be putting all your receipts and everything in a bag, and you're going to take it to your tax preparer, who is going to, number one, have a fit because everything's just in a bag and not organized, and you stand to lose a lot of money. You may not have taken deductions that you should have taken. You may not have, itemized something correctly where you can use it as a deduction, and instead it's going to be used as something else. It's going to raise your taxes. So you need to be able to focus 100% on growing your business and let somebody else take care of the financial part of it. You should not have to have that headache. And one of the great things about having a remote bookkeeper is you don't have payroll, you don't have unemployment taxes, you don't have insurance. It's a lot of overhead when you have an employee, but when you have a remote bookkeeper, everything's done online. You have complete access to go in and look at your books anytime you want to. It just works out. I think it works out a lot better. I like it better than when I was employed and working in accounting, because I have more freedom to be able to look at the things that I need to look at and do the things I need to do without having someone, kind of over your shoulder and, nitpicking everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and having so much experience, I mean, now people trust you with, their books, and whereas maybe when you got started, you were an employee and kind of needed that oversight. Now, after 20 years, you're just like, hey, bring it on, right? There's very few things that you haven't seen by now. So,
no, I actually was working for this one company, and they had an accounting manager who made $100,000 mistake, but instead of trying to find the mistake, she just did a journal entry to clear it off. So
tell me about that. Yeah.
yes, $100,000 missing, and it was a nightmare. And then it snowballs.
Yeah, it's funny because we as entrepreneurs, we want to do it all. We're self-employed. The reason that we went off on our own is because no one really does it better, and there's a little bit of ego behind that, and one thing in order to step up and get to the next level is understanding that you need to delegate. Like, time is our most precious asset. So there's things that we're not experts at that we just need to give it to someone else, because that gives us more time to focus on our business and actually make it profitable. And, we find ourselves a lot of time doing busy work and doing things that we probably shouldn't be doing, that will take an expert 10 minutes to do, but then we're finagling for half a day, trying to figure it out. So, but yeah, so just to kind of recap, guys, main things is your bookkeeper should be able to provide cash flow reports, any real report that you can run on QuickBooks or any accounting software that you're running. They should be able to pull it and give it to you within a few hours. Second thing that you mentioned is make sure that you are doing bookkeeping instead of giving a bunch of receipts so that you can save money on your taxes, and also making sure that you're not giving it to your CPA too is one thing, because your CPA has a lot higher hour bill money per hour. Like they charge a lot more for certain things, whereas a bookkeeper it will save you money instead of having your accountant do it, depending on how your accountant is billing you. And then yeah, there's so many more things that we can talk about when it comes to bookkeeping, but we'll just leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, Christy was nice enough to put her email on the description. So any questions that you have, obviously you can, put them down below and we'll be sure to answer them. But any questions that you guys have in terms of bookkeeping and accounting, please reach out to Christy. Obviously, I'm your insurance girl. You guys know that by now. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next Friday.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Christy. We'll see you guys.